Jack was, when you got to know him, he was a sweetheart and funny guy.
Everyone who met Jack Elam would tell you the same thing. Beneath the offbeat humor and the crooked grin was a man of undeniable charm. He could make you laugh even in the most unexpected moments, his wit as sharp as the glare from his one misaligned eye. But when Jack passed away, many fans were left wondering a question that lingered in whispers across Hollywood and the fan community alike. Why didn't Clint Walker attend his funeral? After all, these two had shared the screen in some of the most memorable westerns of their time, their on-screen chemistry undeniable, a clash of rugged heroism and devilish villainy that captivated audiences. They seemed close, even inseparable on camera. Yet, in the real world, Walker's absence sparked rumors and speculation. Was there a rift that the public never saw? Or was the truth far more complicated, woven into the complex fabric of two men whose lives were as unpredictable off-screen as they were on? In this story, we peel back the layers of Jack Elam's life, from his humble beginnings and tragic childhood to his rise as Hollywood's quintessential villain and later comedic icon. Along the way, we explore the nuances of his relationship with Clint Walker, the intricate dynamics of their careers, and the events that shaped a life defined by resilience, humor, and unforgettable cinematic moments. Jack Elam's story begins far from the bright lights of Hollywood. In the rough mining town of Miami, Arizona, in 1920, the son of Millard and Alice Elam, Jack's early years were marked by hardship and loss. His mother, Alice, battled a baffling illness, described by doctors as general paralysis, for 3 long and painful years before passing when Jack was only 4. This tragedy left an indelible mark on his young heart, reshaping the world he thought he knew. The loss meant that Jack and his sister were sent to live with various relatives, shifting from home to home, learning early lessons about instability, longing, and the aching void left by a parent's absence. These formative years were colored by uncertainty, but a glimmer of hope appeared when Jack's father remarried Flossie Vanny, a schoolteacher with Kansas roots. Flossie brought structure, care, and the consistency that the Elam children desperately needed. By 1930, the newly blended family had settled in Globe, Arizona. While the challenges of the Great Depression still loomed, there was a new undercurrent of hope. Jack, even at a young age, contributed to the household. He labored in fields, picking cotton and working on local farms, learning both the physicality of work and the resilience required to survive tough times. His life was a daily negotiation with hardship, where each dawn promised more toil and each dusk brought exhaustion. Yet amid these trials, Jack's character began to emerge, wry, observant, and quietly resilient. By the time he reached adolescence, life had already presented him with a defining challenge, one that would shape not only his appearance but also his destiny. It was in these early years that Jack learned to adapt, to find humor even in misfortune, and to develop a presence that would later translate seamlessly to the screen. The rugged landscape of Arizona, combined with the grit of his early experiences, planted the seeds of a toughness that would become his signature both on and off the camera. Jack's childhood held one particularly fateful moment that would forever alter his life. At the age of 11, during what should have been an ordinary Boy Scout meeting, a sudden scuffle broke out among the boys. In the chaos, a pencil was thrust into young Jack's left eye. The injury was severe, permanent, and irrevocable. Despite efforts by doctors to salvage his sight, Jack would carry the consequences for the rest of his life, a wandering left eye that eventually became his trademark on screen. This misaligned gaze, often described as harboring its own secrets, could have been a source of shame or limitation. Yet Jack learned early to turn it into something else: humor, charm, and identity. He would often recount the story of the pencil with a laugh, his ability to joke about such a painful moment hinting at the resilience that defined him. In these early experiences, Jack's future as an actor was distant. Acting was not yet a thought, and survival, adaptability, and the need to navigate life's harsh realities dominated his young existence. The incident, while tragic, also forged a subtle edge in Jack's personality. It taught him to see the world differently, to navigate social situations with humor as both shield and sword. His misaligned eye, once a source of pain, became a defining feature, an asset that would later set him apart in the highly visual world of Hollywood. The experience of loss, injury, and adaptation in his formative years laid the groundwork for a man capable of inhabiting the villains, the misfits, and the comedic outlaws that would populate his screen career. Following high school, Jack Elam moved to California, seeking stability and opportunity in a world that promised more than the dusty roads of Arizona. He married and enrolled in a business program, aiming to secure a professional life beyond manual labor. Jack was diligent, ambitious, and sometimes audacious. He even lied about his age to land a position as an accountant at Standard Oil. His sharp mind for numbers quickly earned him recognition, and soon he transitioned to other prestigious roles, including managing Los Angeles's Bel Air Hotel, a position that seemed improbable for someone of his background. Jack's steady career was interrupted by global events. During World War II, he served in the United States Navy, a period that instilled discipline, a broader perspective, and a sense of the world beyond the confines of his early environment. Upon returning to California, he resumed work as an independent auditor. His clientele, including significant players like Samuel Goldwyn Productions and Hopalong Cassidy Productions. Yet, the endless hours hunched over ledgers and financial statements came with a cost. His good eye, already bearing the strain of the childhood accident, was at risk. Doctors warned that continued overwork could lead to total blindness, a devastating prospect for a man who had already endured so much and faced. With a choice between predictable security and potential personal catastrophe, Jack made a bold decision. He could continue down the safe path, risking his health and eyesight for financial stability, or he could pivot entirely, stepping into a world fraught with uncertainty, but offering the chance for adventure and self-expression. Choosing the unknown, Jack left behind auditing, ledgers, and the conventional life he had built, stepping instead into acting, a world where his eye, his presence, and his persona could become assets rather than liabilities. Jack's foray into Hollywood was far from conventional. It was born from a mix of circumstance, shrewd negotiation, and his innate ability to recognize opportunity. A friend, a novice film director, sought financial backing for 3 westerns. Jack agreed to secure the funding, but insisted on claiming a role in each film as part of the arrangement. His first screen appearance came in The Sundowners, and from that moment, his misaligned eye and rugged demeanor captured the attention of audiences and Hollywood insiders alike. While working on the set of Rawhide in 1951, Jack's future was further shaped by a conversation with Darryl Zanuck of 20th Century Fox. The studio mogul, with a keen eye for talent, suggested correcting Jack's wandering eye. But Zanuck, perceptive and insightful, quickly realized the very trait Jack might have considered a flaw was, in fact, his defining feature. It set him apart, made him memorable, and would become a signature aspect of his on-screen identity. Jack's breakthrough was cemented when Tyrone Power, recognizing his latent talent, recommended him to 20th Century Fox. A studio contract followed, opening doors that were previously unimaginable for a former accountant from Arizona. The Sundowners offered him a scene that would haunt audiences, a portrayal of a villain so menacing that even a single glance conveyed threat and danger. Critics and viewers alike were captivated. Jack Elam had arrived, his unique presence marking him as one of the most recognizable character actors of his generation. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Jack Elam became synonymous with villainy in westerns. From the Lone Ranger to Gunsmoke, his wandering eye, rugged features, and menacing presence made him the go-to actor for roles steeped in grit, danger, and intimidation. Yet Jack's talent went beyond menace. Critics noted his ability to define a character through subtle expression and nuanced performance, elevating him above the archetypal bad guy. By the late 1950s, Jack began to expand his range, moving into comedic territory. Support Your Local Sheriff revealed a man capable of humor, timing, and charm, transforming audience expectations. The film's success led to a sequel, Support Your Local Gunfighter, and cemented Jack's place as a versatile actor, equally adept at eliciting fear and laughter. Directors like Burt Kennedy recognized his potential, casting him in projects such as Rio Lobo, The Texas Wheelers, and The Life and Times of Grizzly Adams, showcasing his comedic talent. Later in his career, Jack also formed touching real-life bonds, notably with Mickey Hayes, an 11-year-old boy with progeria. Their friendship, chronicled in the documentary I Am Not a Freak, highlighted the warmth, empathy, and humanity behind the actor's public persona. Over 5 decades, Jack accumulated more than 119 film credits and 260 television appearances, leaving an indelible mark on Hollywood and the Western genre. Jack's first encounter with Clint Walker came on the set of Cheyenne, a revolutionary hour-long Western TV series. Walker, already an imposing presence, embodied Cheyenne body, a drifter balancing strength and compassion in the post-Civil War West. Jack's debut came in Season 6, Episode 14, A Man Called Reagan, but it was the Season 7 opener, The Durango Brothers, that cemented his impact. In this episode, Jack played one of the feared Durango brothers, bringing menace laced with humor to the screen. The story, filled with tension, whispers of fear among townspeople and high-stakes confrontations, allowed Jack to shine alongside Walker. Their collaboration revealed both the camaraderie and the professional synergy that defined much of Jack's career. Walker's towering presence complemented Jack's unique energy, making for episodes that remain memorable decades later. Spurred by the success of Cheyenne, Warner Brothers produced The Dakotas, a darker, more complex Western. Jack portrayed Deputy J.D. Smith, an unpredictable gunslinger whose loyalty shifted like the wind. Alongside Larry Ward as Marshal Reagan, Chad Everett as Del Stark, and Michael Green as Sheriff Vance Porter, Jack's performance stood out, blending charm, menace, and wit. Episodes such as Requiem at Dancers' Hill explored justice versus vengeance, while Sanctuary at Crystal Springs pushed boundaries with a violent shootout in a church. Audience reactions were mixed. Many found the graphic depiction unsettling, leading to declining viewership and eventual cancellation. Despite its short run, the series left a mark, remembered for its moral complexity and Jack's standout performance. Jack Elam remains a Hollywood icon, a man whose wandering eye and rugged visage became a canvas for unforgettable characters. From menacing villains to beloved comedic figures, his versatility, humor, and humanity defined a career that spanned over 5 decades. His collaborations, particularly with stars like Clint Walker, left an enduring imprint on the Western genre. Though questions linger about Walker's absence at Jack's funeral, the legacy they created together, both on and off screen, speaks louder than any speculation. Jack Elam's life reminds us that resilience, charm, and the courage to embrace one's uniqueness can turn even the harshest beginnings into stories that captivate generations. Jack Elam's presence on screen was magnetic, but what made it truly remarkable was the work ethic behind it. While audiences often saw only the wandering eye and crooked grin, what they didn't see was Jack's meticulous preparation. He approached each role with a combination of instinct, experience, and careful observation. Directors who worked with him often noted that Jack didn't simply memorize lines. He studied the character's psychology, movement and reactions, layering menace, humor, or vulnerability depending on the scene's needs. For villainous roles, Jack drew upon his own life experiences, the hardships of childhood, the unpredictability of adversity, and the moments of loss and triumph. These informed not only his facial expressions, but also the subtle body language that made him so compelling. A twitch of an eyebrow, the angle of his gaze, or a deliberate pause could convey more threat than a dozen scripted lines. In comedic scenes, he adapted seamlessly, using timing, reaction, and contrast with co-stars to elicit laughter without ever undermining the character's believability. Colleagues often marveled at his adaptability. On one day's shoot, he could play a terrifying outlaw in a tense Western standoff. The next, he could deliver deadpan humor that left an entire crew doubled over in laughter. His dedication extended beyond rehearsals. Jack often stayed late on set, experimenting with gestures, expressions, and delivery until the scene felt natural, yet electric. This commitment, combined with his instinctive understanding of what the camera captured best, made him a reliable presence for directors seeking both precision and spontaneity. Jack's work ethic wasn't just professional, it was personal. He viewed acting as a way to explore human nature in all its complexity, and he treated every role, regardless of size, with respect. This approach not only elevated the films he worked on, but also ensured that his characters remained memorable decades after audiences first saw them. Jack Elam's villainous persona became a staple of Hollywood westerns. The wandering left eye, initially a childhood accident, became a hallmark of menace. In films like The Lone Ranger, Gunsmoke, and Rawhide, audiences were instantly drawn into the tension his presence created. It wasn't just his appearance. Jack had an uncanny ability to make audiences feel unease without dialogue, conveying menace through silence, movement, and a single glance. Some of his most memorable roles involved scenes that have become classics in the Western genre. One example is his chilling performance in The Sundowners, where his character's ruthless intent was conveyed through an unsettling gaze, leaving moviegoers unsettled long after the credits rolled. Critics praised Jack for transforming the archetype of the Western villain from a simple foil into a fully realized human presence with depth, unpredictability, and a dark charisma. Audience impact extended beyond fear. Many fans wrote letters expressing fascination with Jack's ability to portray evil convincingly while maintaining a sense of complexity. He wasn't a cartoonish villain. He was human, flawed, and occasionally sympathetic. This nuanced portrayal influenced subsequent generations of Western actors who sought to emulate Jack's combination of subtlety, intensity, and psychological depth. Even in ensemble casts, Jack's presence could dominate a scene. Directors often remarked that his energy lifted the performance of those around him, providing a counterbalance to heroes and enriching the narrative. This impact, both on-screen and in popular memory, ensured that Jack Elam's villains remained iconic, shaping the audience's understanding of cinematic Western conflict. Despite his success as a villain, Jack Elam never allowed himself to be confined to a single archetype. The turning point came with Support Your Local Sheriff, a Western comedy that allowed him to explore a different dimension of his talent. Here, Jack's crooked eye and rugged features were no longer tools of terror, but instruments of humor. His impeccable timing, expressive face, and ability to convey clueless charm won over audiences, proving that he could entertain as easily through laughter as through fear. The sequel, Support Your Local Gunfighter, further solidified Jack's place as a comedic presence. Directors like Burt Kennedy recognized his potential and deliberately crafted roles that highlighted his deadpan delivery, subtle gestures, and the innate physical comedy that he had refined over decades. Films such as Rio Lobo and The Cannonball Run allowed him to reach new generations of viewers, expanding his influence beyond Western enthusiasts. Jack's reinvention wasn't simply a shift in roles, it was a reflection of his understanding of the medium and his own adaptability. He realized that his appearance, which had defined him as a villain, could also serve as a comedic asset. By embracing this duality, Jack ensured that he remained relevant in an industry notorious for pigeonholing actors. His career longevity was a testament to his ability to evolve, finding fresh avenues for creativity while maintaining the essence of who he was. Television offered Jack Elam a canvas for experimentation and range. Beyond Cheyenne and the Dakotas, he appeared in Twilight Zone, Death Valley Days, Lawman, and countless others, bringing the same intensity and precision to smaller roles. In these series, Jack had the freedom to explore complex moralities, human contradictions, and moments of levity, often within a single episode. Recurring TV actors frequently commented on Jack's generosity and collaborative spirit. He had an uncanny ability to elevate scenes, whether he was the central figure or a supporting presence. Directors valued his instinctive understanding of camera angles, pacing, and audience perception, which ensured that every appearance, however brief, left a lasting impression. Television allowed Jack to remain visible to audiences, bridging the gap between his early villainous fame and later comedic endeavors. Off-screen, Jack was known for his warmth, humor, and generosity. On the set of the Dakotas and other westerns, he often lightened tense moments with stories, pranks, and quick-witted observations. His friendships with co-stars like Clint Walker were founded on mutual respect and shared experience. Jack also formed a touching bond with Mickey Hayes, an 11-year-old boy with progeria, participating in a documentary that highlighted the young boy's resilience and humanity. These relationships revealed a side of Jack rarely seen by audiences: empathetic, playful, and deeply human. Despite a successful career, Jack faced numerous challenges. Health issues stemming from his eye injury required vigilance throughout his life. Certain projects courted controversy, particularly Sanctuary at Crystal Springs, which depicted violence in a church, drawing criticism and contributing to the cancellation of the Dakotas. Jack navigated these setbacks with grace, relying on professionalism, humor, and a grounded sense of self to weather public scrutiny. In his later career, Jack continued to delight audiences through comedic films, TV cameos, and guest appearances. He became a symbol of resilience, demonstrating how an actor could evolve with the times while maintaining authenticity. Awards, fan admiration, and continued recognition affirmed his influence. Modern character actors often cite Jack as an inspiration for versatility, charm, and the power of embracing uniqueness. Jack Elam's journey from a rough childhood in Arizona to Hollywood legend reflects a life defined by courage, humor, and talent. His wandering eye, once a childhood injury, became a signature that allowed him to embody both fearsome villains and beloved comedic figures. Collaborations with Clint Walker and others shaped the Western genre, while his presence on screen and behind the scenes left a lasting imprint on audiences and peers alike. Jack's legacy reminds us that embracing one's uniqueness and resilience can transform adversity into timeless artistry. Behind the rugged exterior and crooked grin, Jack Elam was a family man at heart. His marriage, though largely private, provided him with stability and grounding in a life that could otherwise be dominated by the chaos of Hollywood sets and relentless filming schedules. Jack understood the value of home, and despite the demanding nature of his career, he made it a priority to nurture relationships with his wife, children, and extended family. Balancing the unpredictable world of film and television with family life was no small feat. On some projects, Jack would arrive on set with stories from home, his anecdotes weaving warmth into otherwise tense scenes. These moments revealed a man whose humor and empathy extended far beyond the camera. Co-stars often remarked that Jack's ability to connect with people, whether family, colleagues, or fans, was as important to him as his professional success. Jack's family also played a role in shaping his on-screen persona. The patience, love, and humor he experienced at home infused his performances with depth. Even his comedic timing could be traced back to the everyday joys and small absurdities of family life, moments that he carried into his acting. While the public often remembered him for his villains or his comic turns, those closest to him knew a man capable of tenderness, generosity, and genuine connection, a side of Jack Elam that contrasted with the intimidating figures he portrayed on screen. Jack's approach to acting was grounded in authenticity and adaptability. He believed that the essence of a performance lay not in exaggerated gestures or overblown emotion, but in subtlety and truth. Every twitch of his eye, every shift in posture was deliberate, reflecting an understanding that cinema communicates as much through nuance as through dialogue. To young actors, Jack's advice was simple but profound: embrace your uniqueness. The thing that makes you different, he would say, is what will make you unforgettable. He encouraged aspiring performers to study their roles meticulously, to observe human behavior, and to respect the craft, regardless of the size of the part. Versatility, he emphasized, was not merely a skill but a survival tool in an industry prone to typecasting. Jack's philosophy extended beyond the technical aspects of acting. He believed in the emotional responsibility actors held, to tell stories that resonate, to embody characters that reflect human complexity. Whether portraying a menacing outlaw or a bumbling comic, he approached every role with seriousness, humor, and integrity, teaching a generation of performers the value of dedication and authenticity. While Jack Elam was not always a headline star, his contributions to film and television did not go unnoticed. Over his 5-decade career, he received accolades from critics, peers, and fans alike, celebrated for the range, depth, and memorability of his performances. Western aficionados in particular revered him, and he developed a devoted following that extended far beyond the genre. Fan letters, magazine features, and conventions bore witness to Jack's enduring appeal. Audiences admired his ability to elicit fear and laughter, often in the same performance, and he became a cultural touchstone for character actors. Studios recognized his reliability, charisma, and unique screen presence, offering him roles that showcased both his villainous and comedic talents. Jack's legacy was further solidified by his influence on the Western genre. Many modern actors and directors cite his performances as benchmarks for character work, particularly in crafting villains who are both intimidating and relatable. His career demonstrated that supporting roles, when approached with dedication and creativity, can leave as lasting an impression as any leading part. Life on set with Jack Elam was anything but ordinary. Colleagues often recounted moments of levity, clever improvisation, and unexpected insight. On the Dakotas, he would break tension during intense scenes with a perfectly timed joke or a playful glance, reminding everyone that even in high-stakes storytelling, humor had a place. Jack's improvisational skills were legendary. Directors often allowed him the freedom to explore moments spontaneously, trusting his instinct to enhance the scene. Co-stars appreciated his generosity. He never overshadowed, but always elevated the scene. Even in the most dramatic Western standoffs, his subtle expressions and gestures added layers of tension and emotion, creating moments that audiences remember decades later. Stories from the set revealed Jack's ability to connect personally with those around him. Whether mentoring younger actors, sharing anecdotes from past films, or collaborating on character development, he cultivated an environment where creativity and camaraderie flourished. These behind-the-scenes moments were a testament to the man behind the characters, whose professionalism, humor, and humanity were as compelling as his performances. Jack Elam's impact on Hollywood extended far beyond his own screen appearances. Many contemporary actors have cited him as an influence, noting his ability to transform supporting roles into unforgettable characters. His mastery of subtle expression, combined with his willingness to embrace both villainy and comedy, provided a blueprint for performers seeking versatility and longevity. Directors and casting agents also recognized his contributions, often pointing to Jack as a standard for character development and performance depth. The lessons of adaptability, commitment, and embracing individuality that he imparted continue to resonate with performers navigating the complexities of modern film and television. His influence even reaches pop culture references, where the image of the crooked-eyed outlaw or the deadpan comic with a mischievous grin remains instantly recognizable. Through his work, Jack Elam helped redefine what it meant to be a character actor in Hollywood, showing that supporting players could command the screen and captivate audiences for generations. Jack Elam's unique image, his wandering left eye, and rugged features became iconic not just within Westerns, but across popular culture. Decades after his early performances, he remained a reference point in television, film, and even comic parodies. His combination of menace and humor created a duality that allowed audiences to both fear and adore his characters, a rare achievement in cinematic history. He was frequently referenced in television shows and films that sought to evoke the Western genre or its archetypes. From homage sketches to modern reinterpretations of villainous figures, Jack's presence could be felt even in productions where he did not appear. This enduring cultural footprint underscores his status not only as a character actor, but as a symbol of versatility, charm, and the distinctive power of embracing one's unique traits. In his later years, Jack often reflected on life, mortality, and the path that had led him from a mining town in Arizona to Hollywood stardom. He recognized the unpredictable nature of fate, how a pencil to the eye, a series of small choices, and a willingness to embrace risk had shaped his entire journey. Jack valued the friendships and connections